Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so if you've ever stepped into a brand new leadership role, you know exactly how heavy that pressure feels on day one. You've been hired or promoted because, well, you're highly capable, and suddenly, boom, all eyes are on you to perform, to lead, and to make an immediate impact. It's exhilarating, for sure, but let's be totally honest, it is also incredibly daunting. So today, we're going to look at a highly structured approach to managing those absolutely crucial first few weeks.
Now, I've got a question for you. What do you think is a new manager's absolute biggest mistake? Look, it's completely natural to feel anxious and to want to prove your worth right out of the gate. But that urge, that burning desire to just go in and fix everything immediately, to overhaul processes before you even know where the coffee machine is, that is a massive pitfall. Acting on assumptions rather than the actual reality on the ground can literally destroy your credibility with your new team before you've even had a chance to build it.
And that is exactly where this brilliant concept comes in. It's called the Quiet Listening Tour. Basically, it's a strategic 2 to 3 week period at the very start of your tenure where your focus is entirely on gathering information. You intentionally hold back from immediately implementing any changes. You're completely reframing your initial mission. You're stepping away from that intense pressure of knowing it all and instead fully embracing the goal of learning it all.
Here's our tactical playbook for today. 1. The Quiet Listening Tour. 2. The Step-by-Step Plan. 3. The 3 core questions. 4. Overcoming common pitfalls. And finally, 5. Building long-term trust. All right, let's dive into Section 1, the Quiet Listening Tour and Valuing Team Knowledge.
The core philosophy of the Quiet Listening Tour is pretty simple, really. It values the team's existing knowledge way over your own managerial assumptions. By dedicating your first couple of weeks entirely to listening, you're sending a massive signal to your team. You're basically telling them, through your actions, that you have a profound respect for their perspective, their history, and their expertise right out of the gate.
Moving right along to Section 2, the step-by-step plan for your first weeks.
So here's your operational playbook. Step 1 is to utilize one-on-one meetings. These sessions, they are your absolute primary tool for gathering on-the-ground intelligence. This is where you find out the real deal about team morale, any hidden roadblocks, and, super importantly, flight risks, people who might actually be looking to leave. Step 2 is to explicitly acknowledge team expertise. You've really got to recognize that your employees likely know their daily tasks much better than you do, especially if you're brand new to the company. Asking for their input on solving problems creates this immediate buy-in. And then there's Step 3, which is where you take action based on what you've just learned. Identify and remove roadblocks. Framing your role as one of support, specifically by clearing obstacles, demonstrates immediate, tangible follow-through.
Okay, Section 3, the 3 core questions. These are your targeted inquiries.
The very first targeted question you absolutely must ask is, what is working? This is just so crucial because it demonstrates a genuine commitment to understanding the team's current reality. You're showing them that you aren't there to just smash things that are already functioning perfectly well. You actually want to preserve their wins before you make any sort of disruptive decisions.
Then, the second core question is, what is broken? Now, asking this creates a really fascinating shift in the dynamic. By asking them to identify the flaws, you're instantly fostering respect. You're not playing the omniscient boss who just magically sees all the flaws from above. You're actively asking the people right there on the front lines to diagnose the issues. This builds incredible early buy-in from the team simply because they feel heard.
And the third question is, what do you need from leadership? This perfectly frames your new role. You aren't just a delegator, you're a supporter. This question surfaces the exact resources, the tools, or even the air cover that the team is currently lacking, which gives you a super clear roadmap for that Step 3 we talked about, removing roadblocks.
So, when you put these together, these 3 questions function as a brilliantly unified strategy. Asking what is working helps you understand reality. Asking what is broken fosters respect. And asking about their needs allows you to provide direct support. They beautifully build upon each other to give you a complete 360-degree view of your new team's landscape, gathering intelligence in literally the most respectful way possible.
Now, as you really get into these one-on-ones, you can deploy a total secret weapon. Ask them, what do you need from me that I'm not giving you? It's a really powerful, super specific question that rapidly deepens trust, mainly because it makes you entirely accountable to their success.
Let's pivot to Section 4, Overcoming Common Pitfalls, or How to Avoid Some Major Traps.
A huge trap here is how you treat the time you've actually booked for this tour. If you're constantly canceling and rescheduling your initial conversations, well, you're sending a devastatingly clear message to your employees that they just aren't a priority. It destroys trust before it even gets off the ground. Instead, you've got to fiercely protect the schedule of these meetings. Guard this listening time with your life to prove that their input is, in fact, your top priority.
Another major pitfall? Assuming you know best simply because, well, you're the boss. Look, while you might have a high-level view, the employees almost certainly know the granular daily tasks way better than you do. Coming in with assumptions just completely stifles communication, whereas explicitly asking for their input on daily execution earns you some seriously critical credibility. Finally, Section 5, Building Long-Term Trust, the foundation of it all. Building that long-term credibility actually requires something kinda counterintuitive. Do not pretend to have all the answers. Admit mistakes, admit your knowledge gaps, and practice authentic vulnerability. The source material emphasizes that if you don't have all the answers during these tours, you should be totally comfortable just admitting it. Honestly, admitting you don't know everything actually makes you a stronger, way more approachable leader.
Ultimately, being authentic and admitting your own knowledge gaps creates a far more solid foundation for trust than pretending to be perfect ever could. Vulnerability isn't a weakness in leadership, it's honestly the ultimate trust-building mechanism. It shows your team that you're human, you're eager to learn, and that you're right there in the trenches with them.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the step-by-step execution of one-on-ones to the core questions that unlock team reality. The Quiet Listening Tour is your ultimate playbook for turning those anxious first few weeks into a total masterclass in building credibility. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to take into your next role. Are you ready to stop talking and start listening? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.